I want to stress that this is not me being petty. This is not me being boo-hoo, I didn't get chosen. But I want to talk about the masquerade. Because I've been, again, going to the masquerade and being a part of the masquerade for over 7-8 years. And I have to say, this masquerade was the worst that I've ever seen there. And I can tell you exactly why. The contestants get 15 seconds on stage each. So you work your butt off building your own costume from hand, whether it's, a big flowing gown or a big armor piece. You walk on stage and you get 15 seconds. Crystal said 100 people entered for novice. I believe that, and I've been told that. I've been told that a lot of people entered this year. I will get to that. The 15 seconds thing is BS. I'll just say it. It's BS. And I'm not saying it's BS from the organizer's point of view. Putting them behind a panel is stupid. I've been to so many other cons, and that is always the last thing of the day because it gives them the freedom to run a little longer to make sure that the cosplayers get seen. The walk-on part frustrated me to no end. For those who don't know, after the contestants went up, they had a walk-on section where they had people from the crowd who they had picked or who had applied, I don't know, walked on basically, go up on stage and show off their cosplays just walking across the stage. The frustrating part about that was I was waiting out in the crowd in the line, and someone came out and just said, "Who's here for walk-ons?" And a bunch of people in cosplay got up and walked in. I didn't know what that was. I didn't know, was a walk-on just, if somebody didn't make it for the contestants, you can just fill in the space. No, they just had any cosplayer walk up across stage. So why didn't they instead, if you didn't get picked to be a part of the masquerade or the Masters of Cosplay, whatever you want to call it, if you didn't get picked to be a part of it, why didn't they say, sorry, you didn't get picked? However, show up to the masquerade that night and you could do a walk-on. We can take all of you guys. You can at least walk across the stage and you can at least get your cosplay seen. And I think they all competed for a Bluetooth speaker. That wasn't in the email. And I checked it today to make sure. The email that I got said, hey, sorry you didn't get picked. Wait around. If there's an opening, we might pick you. So again, I'm thankful that the cosplayers got to go up there and show off their cosplays that were standing in line. But I feel like there were people who applied that should have been up there too. My personal opinion. And I know of someone else who spent over a year working on a dress and didn't get picked. So I can just imagine how they feel. The idea of all of these cons, the Fan Expo cons, trying to look similar, I get. But again, there are cons around here who do the masquerade 1,000 times better. And if this is the way it's going to go, and this is the way it's going to be for the next little while, I think they're going to lose out on contestants. And I think they're going to lose out on audience members. And I know this because when I first started going to Fan Expo, that room was sold out. You couldn't find a seat in that room. Mind you, the masquerade was like 2 hours long, but everybody got a minute on stage if they wanted. You were able to do your own custom audio, and the host, they had one host and he rocked it and got laughs and did amazing. Nothing against Grim and Pat who do it now. They do a great job. But I remember that room was standing room only. And now it's about a quarter full. That's a problem because I don't see how they can bring people back if your cosplayers are just walking across for 15 seconds. You can't really show off a cosplay that well. Personal opinion. The master winner. I forget the winner's name, but they did an amazing job. They did a Warhammer version of Ben Franklin, and it was dope. It was dope. And they had like they said that they were wearing the undergarments of that era as well. Amazing, amazing. The problem I have with that though is that is now the second Warhammer that's won the Master Award. That's a problem if you're not the type of cosplayer to do builds like that. If you're a seamstress, if you're wanting to do some other cosplay that's big but not that, you don't feel like you have a hope in hell of winning. And that's a little sad because I'm not a seamstress, but I've seen some of those dresses and I can just imagine how much time and energy goes into that. But I knew as soon as that Ben Franklin walked across, I knew they were winning before they even said anything. I knew they were going to win. And that's frustrating as hell. So again, I know that's tough. Actually, it reminds me of when I first started my masquerade performance. This was probably 2012, 2013. This is when 3D printing started to kick off. It wasn't easily available like it is now, but anybody who did a 3D printed Iron Man suit automatically won because it was almost perfect because you 3D printed everything. And that became very frustrating, not only for me, but for other cosplayers. And I remember talking to a couple of them in the green room because as soon as an Iron Man walked in, you're like, well, then let's just leave because there's no way we're going to compete with that because, they spent at that point hundreds of thousands of dollars because it was stupid expensive to 3D print back then, but they were going to win. And they won every single competition I ever saw. So if going in that one person's going to blow it out of the water, if they put the time and effort, again, I completely understand how much hard work goes into that, but it from a judging point of view, I feel like that's an issue that it's an automatic winner. Yeah, I think the masquerade needs a lot of work because I'm always going to try and compete because I just love being on stage, but I just don't know how much the fans are going to keep enjoying it. And I don't know how many competitors are going to keep going over and over again to compete if they know that they're only going to hit a certain level and only get so much exposure, especially when there's other conventions around here that will give them the freedom to do audio, video, 1 minute on stage. Again, I know I've heard rumors from several people in the cosplay realm of Fan Expo that they want to add that, and that's great. But I think they need to figure it out sooner rather than later because it's becoming a problem. And from what I heard in the room, I think it was a lot quieter than what I've heard in the past, which is a bummer.